really focused on using inclusion management, which is really about getting the right people doing the right work, elevating their relevant differences so that they can create and innovate for a world that is increasingly multicultural, transcultural, and global. And this is really important because in the 20th century, it was as if those of us who came of professional age in the 20th century were raised by wolves. We really did not learn how to truly manage the complexity of human talent. And I think it's because of, when the Industrial Revolution really came of age in the early 20th century, it was all about interchangeable parts, right? It was industrial. It was about manufacturing. It was about, low skilled labor coming in. And you know what, Martin, you could do the same job that I did. And if I didn't want to do that job, they just bring you in, and just because it was a repetitive job, right? Interchangeable parts, interchangeable people. As we've moved to the later part of the 20th century, where I think there were substantial fears around robotics and automation taking over for humans, and humans losing jobs and creating structural unemployment, I think those fears were actually fairly unfounded. Yes, those forces took jobs that were repetitive, that were part of the interchangeable parts. But what happened was they created a wave of new jobs that required the kind of talent that are and capabilities that are uniquely human: knowledge, information, creativity, innovation, and service. And so what we're seeing is this shift to these economies that are driven by knowledge, information, service, creativity, innovation. And today's managers are struggling with managing humans, managing those uniquely human capabilities, because they aren't interchangeable. You and I aren't the same people. Now, we might be put in the same job, but if it's a knowledge job, an information job, just like you're doing this podcast, well, the way you manage this podcast, even if we were addressing the same subject matter, might be quite different, might be different in tonality, might be different in the way that we structure stories. Same thing, same goal, right? But different ways of doing things, because you and I are different in our creative capabilities, our perspectives, etc. It is incumbent upon leaders, company leaders, to get this. To manage in the 21st century, you have to manage humans. And we believe that inclusion management strategy is the critical strategy for managing the complexity of the human talent force in the 21st century, because that is going to be required if we're going to unleash the potential of human talent in our businesses and drive growth.